Welcome to Dr. Balaga's podcast for the Curious Doc. Today is July 3rd, 2026. This video is on a New England Journal of Medicine article published a few days ago, June 27, 2026. It's titled Declarations of Independence, Physicians and the U.S. Body Politic, 1776 to 2026. It's about the physicians in the American Revolution. There's a list of physicians discussed in this article. This is one-liner narrative of each of these physicians. Hit pause and read at your leisure. Why did they open with John Hancock and Hosea Bartlett? This article notes that John Hancock was the first to sign the Declaration of Independence, and Hosea Bartlett, a physician, signed second, placing a doctor visibly at the birth of American independence. How many declaration signers were physicians? 5 of the 56 signers were doctors, described as a high watermark for medical representation in American political leadership. What made physicians socially influential in 1776? They were often not only clinicians, they also served as community leaders, reformers, judges, legislators, and military figures. Why did revolutionary physicians enter politics? Their local authority and civic engagement drew them into defining social and political questions of the era. What modern contrast does the article emphasize? Despite health policy debates on vaccines, insurance, and research funding, physicians now play fewer prominent national political roles. Who was the most celebrated physician signer? Benjamin Rush, based in Philadelphia, was the best known and only physician signer with a formal medical degree. Where did Rush receive medical training? Rush earned a medical degree from the University of Edinburgh in 1768. What medical practice made Rush famous and controversial? He advocated heroic medicine, especially aggressive bleeding and purgatives. How did Rush view mental illness? The article notes he encouraged a gentler, more supportive approach to people with mental illness. What contraindication marked Rush's abolitionism? He supported abolition, yet after signing the declaration, he purchased and later manumitted an enslaved man. How did Stamp Act shape Rush? The 1765 Stamp Act helped to rouse Rush towards American independence and linked his reformist medicine to Republican politics. What was Rush's role in Tea Act crisis? In 1773, he co-wrote a proclamation denouncing the British Tea Act, helping inspire Boston resistance. How did Rush influence common sense? In 1775, he encouraged Thomas Paine to write the tract, suggested the title, and offered advice in edits. Whom did Rush know among revolutionary leaders? He became a close friend and confidant of John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, with more complicated ties to George Washington and Alexander Hamilton. What happened to physician Joseph Warren? Unlike Rush, Warren died at Bunker Hill, becoming a physician patriot whose political influence ended in the battlefield. What military service did Rush perform? He served as a physician surgeon and a military medical leader, including care for wounded soldiers after Trenton and Princeton. What role did Rush hold in 1777? He served briefly as the Surgeon General of the Middle Department of Military Hospitals, spanning the Hudson to the Potomac region. What did Rush say about wartime deaths? He observed that more soldiers died from sickness than by sword. The article confirms disease caused most American war deaths. How did Rush use medical metaphors politically? During debates or price controls, he urged strong tonic medicines for the nation, comparing civic health with body equilibrium. What did Rush pursue after formal politics? He largely avoided office, promoting education, national advancement, Adams-Jefferson reconciliation, and a distinctly American medicine. What later office did Hosea Bartlett hold? Bartlett became the Chief Justice of New Hampshire Supreme Court, the state's first governor, and helped establish its medical society. What was Matthew Thornton's constitutional role? Thornton chaired the committee that drafted New Hampshire's constitution, the first ratified by an American colony. How did Lyman Hall's career evolve? Hall trained as a minister, practiced medicine, led Georgia's independence movement, served as a judge and governor, and co-founded the University of Georgia. What path did Oliver Wolcott follow? After medical apprenticeship, Wolcott became high sheriff, judge, legislator, militia leader, governor, and signer of both the Declaration and the Articles of Confederation. How were most physician signers trained? Except Rush, none attended medical school. They trained through apprenticeship and rose through local civic leadership. How did the article address slavery among physician signers? Bartlett, Hall, and Wolcott were supported by enslaved labor. Wolcott manipulated one enslaved man, while Hall opposed an anti-slave trade clause. Did many later physicians reach high office? A few did, including Samuel Latham Mitchell in Congress and the Senate, Jeremy V.C. Smith as Boston mayor, and Samuel Freeman Miller on the Supreme Court. Has any physician become U.S. president? No physician has been elected president, though William Henry Harrison briefly attended medical school under Rush. How did physician representation in Congress change? It fell from 4.7% of the members in 1789 to 1889 to 1.1% in 1889 to 1982, and has remained 1.1% from 1960 to 2004. What's the article's closing message? The 119th Congress includes 20 physicians, but medical expertise remains underrepresented in national policy. Physicians must reconsider political engagement. These are the women who have served in Congress. Dr. Donna Christensen, she was the first female physician elected to Congress as a whole. However, she represented U.S. Virgin Islands, meaning she served as a non-voting delegate rather than a representative of a state with a voting seat. Dr. Shelley Secular Gibbs was the first female physician elected to the U.S. House of Representatives. She won a special election in 2006 to fill the remaining 7 weeks of the 109th Congress following the resignation of the Representative Tom DeLay. Dr. Kim Schreier, 2018, a pediatrician, she remains the first female physician elected to a full voting term in the U.S. House of Representatives. She continues to serve. This is an infographic on this NEJM article. Hit pause and read at your leisure. Podcast brought to you by masterbedfacts.com. This podcast is for physicians and healthcare providers. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and forward to your friends.